bigger than me, right? Like,
Yeah.
you say you weigh 260?
260.
And people think that like muscles like mean something. Muscles don't mean nothing. Like,
I'd beat the out of you in the street.
no, I would kill you, bro.
Yeah,
I would kill you. I would kill you, bro.
God, I love it. I would maul you at 150.
No.
100%.
No.
Okay, so he's not wrong. He is incorrect though. Oh, incorrect means wrong? No, yeah, he's super wrong. Let me explain. For the last year, I have been training in martial arts less and lifting more than I ever have, which means it is both the strongest I've been in 10 years and also the least sharp from a fighting perspective. The perfect time to test this theory. In this video, I'll be testing 4 aspects of my martial arts: takedowns, ground game, striking, and power in general, and comparing that to when I was only training in martial arts to see if we can finally come to a clear answer of the question, do muscles make you good at fighting? Are you commenting right now? Get your grubby little fingers away from there. I haven't even started the video. You're already starting to... I understand you might not like the concept of the video. Just wait a second. I got stuff to say. I know what you do. Pretty much every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday for the last year, almost to the date, I come here and I work out for the purpose of getting better at sumo wrestling. If you haven't been following along, that's probably confusing. I get it. And it has 100% worked. If there's a combat sport you need to be stronger for, it is sumo. But has it applied to every other martial art that I do? Because I could see it being a detriment to sparring. Maybe I hit harder, but maybe I'm not as smooth. There's a lot of questions I have. Most of the time in this class, we focus on the traditional lifts and moving them as fast as possible, tracking the velocity on the way up. But this week is one of the 4 hardest weeks out of the year.
All right, second set. Ready? Bars out. Go. Here we go. Let's go. Move it, move it, move it. Push and pull, push and pull. Good speed. Keep it up. Let's go. Move, move, move. Keep moving. Time. Rock it.
I recognize how silly this looks, but holy smokes, this is so difficult. It has been a year.
It has been a year.
How crazy is that?
Won a championship.
That's right. Yeah, went to Worlds.
Accomplished your goal.
That's right. I can say for a fact that I feel like a completely different person than I did this time last year.
You're moving better. You're a hell of a lot more explosive. For me, it's all about developing the nervous system. Here we go. Push and pull, push and pull, push and pull. Good speed, keep it up. Let's go. Move it, move it, move it. And so when you're looking at athletics, really it's who can do the most amount of work in the shortest amount of time. Go. Looking at what you just did out there with the change of direction, we had phases leading up to that to be able to harness the energy and then redirect the energy. With the phase that we're in now, with the antagonistically facilitated method, it's teaching your body how to relax and then contract as fast as you can.
Oh, that's some burnt.
Yeah. So basically, you're just harnessing that energy and then redirecting it as quickly as possible.
I had no idea I was doing that many big words. Okay, this might not be how the average person works out. It is more quote-unquote athletic than making muscles look bigger, more shapely, or simply picking up more weight. But for me, I'll know the difference between when I moved around before this and now. And I'll 100% be able to give pros and cons on what I feel like I've gained or lost from lifting these weights. And we're going to start off with the martial art I've started most recently, judo.
As far as actually trying to throw somebody who's trying to throw you back, at the beginning, going against someone else who's new,
right?
It's like all athleticism and like 10% technique.
If I'm not being hard on myself for once, and I watch my judo matches back, I could argue that it looks like I'm maybe holding my own. But it's more kind of just being a stalwart than it is doing good judo, I think. The first pro from lifting is that my grips are stronger than the average white belts. Deadlifting and holding a bar, it makes a difference when you're holding onto somebody's gi. The second pro is definitely my base. Being able to sink down and become unliftable makes a sport where picking someone up and tossing them much harder. But those are helping me more defensively. I don't feel like I'm getting anything going offensively. As you can see here, there's positions where maybe he has a leg up. Get it? but the position isn't entirely beneficial because my strength kind of equals out what's happening. Against lower belts, I can make the same techniques work a little bit better, but I really have to force them, and it's not pretty. And that base that I mentioned earlier doesn't really stop me from going forwards. It only stops me from being lifted up. I don't know. I can't say for sure, but it feels like there's plenty of times that I should be thrown that I'm not. And 90% of it is probably people being nice to me. But I'm sure some portion of it is strength. It's not good technique or skill for sure, but strength is definitely playing a good part. Now, against a faster, twitchier black belt, we're gonna see these problems start to come into play. I can sort of nullify some things, but once the intent is there and attributes are taken away, solid technique can put you out of position to be able to use the muscles that you've built. I don't have any muscles that work from there. Oh, and then the landing pad. You could argue that I have more cushion than the average person on my back, with more muscle being there, but also it is more weight that hits the ground at once. I think there's a fair amount of times that my strength allows me to do things that I shouldn't be able to technically, which kind of lets me get away with it and means I don't perfect the technique the way I should. I feel like I am in position to be thrown a lot, but don't because I'm stronger than someone. Is that a fair assumption, or are people being nice to me?
No, I felt like you were like a different person than the first time you came in here.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you threw me. You threw me once.
Okay, let's...
I didn't give it to you. But I also, you were very, very sturdy. I know you were working on trying to like do strong stuff.
Yeah. When somebody comes in and they don't have a martial arts background, but they obviously lift a lot, does that put them above white belts who don't train at all?
Yes.
Okay.
Athleticism is like half of judo, I'm gonna say.
Really?
Yeah, like competition anyway.
Yeah, okay.
Your technique matters a lot, and it's going to matter more the longer you do it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the beginning, going against someone else who's new,
Right.
it's like all athleticism and like 10% technique.
Fair.
And then
Okay.
and then later on, your
Yeah.
technique gets better. But if you look at the Olympics, like everybody's jacked and shredded too. Like
We then moved on to newaza in judo, which is not too dissimilar from jiu-jitsu. And I think strength matters even less in gi jiu-jitsu. Don't get me wrong, it's definitely important, but in a game that emphasizes athleticism less and knowledge base more, it makes sense. Most of the points that strength come into play are in transitions between two different major positions. There's plenty of times where someone is in mount, or side mount, or I'm in mount, and I can use my strength to overpower someone. But that doesn't mean I'm winning a fight, more or less. Now, maybe if I can exhaust them in the process, that would help. But strength doesn't really apply to most techniques or submissions. Doesn't mean you can't bench press somebody off side mount, though. There are things that definitely work. If you can find yourself in like a gross motor movement position, like a bench press or a deadlift, a movement that's almost a one-to-one replica of lifts that you already do, guess what? You're gonna be able to do it pretty easy. These are also the things that I struggle with against people who are stronger than me. Not that anybody's stronger than I am. In middle school, they called me Seth the Strong. Was it Seth the Sweaty? I think it was Seth the Sweaty. As you can probably assume from looking at me, my inability to blink at this moment, I sweat a lot. That's where the sponsor of today's video, Element, comes into play. With all that sweat that I lose, I'm also losing salt. Salt that is vital to your body's day-to-day needs. Element is a delicious, sugar-free drink mix that helps give you that salt back. Without a proper amount of salt, you can have headaches, muscle cramps, fatigue, digestion issues. Not something you want to mess with. Element helps give you your salt back in delicious flavors. Mine is the watermelon at any given moment. I've got two here. I got one in my bag. I keep those things on me. For the winter time, they also have the chocolate medley, which is great if you heat it up You make it a little hot chocolate. Wonderful. The chai flavor. Gadzooks. When's the last time you heard that? What about this? Great Googly Moogly. I trust Element to get me through every single lifting session you see. Anytime I have a big tournament somewhere, you can see me drinking it on the world stage. And I'm not the only one. Plenty of Olympic athletes, NFL teams, NBA, NHL, famed Stanford neuroscientists. They all trust Element, so do I. If you'd like to get some from yourself, go to drinklmnt.com/Sensei Seth. You can get a free sample pack with any purchase you make. Not only that, but if you try it out and you don't love it, you get a 100% risk-free guarantee. You keep the product, they give you your money back, that's it. Again, that is drinklmnt.com/Sensei Seth for one free sample pack with any purchase. Whenever I've made videos like this in the past, I get accused of hating on bodybuilders. Bro, how am I supposed... We have the exact same body type. That's not true. A lot of the comments are, Seth, they're not trying to become better at fighting, they're building their body. They're usually great at it, but every now and then you have a very swollily built person.
But like, I swear to God, if you come up on me, I'm gonna be bench pressing the street. I'm just sick of all these jiu-jitsu Kaizen fucking bastards, street fighter motherfuckers, thinking just because they know MMA, they can whoop a big dude's ass. They get instantly pressed about a dude who's not a skinny like you're a skinny If I catch you on the street, it doesn't matter what kind of fighting technique you know. I'm smashing a bottle over your I'm picking up the nearest object and I'm launching it at you. I'm tackling you into the wall. I don't care about your rules and regulation. There's no regulation in the gym that says I can't launch a 45 plate at your.
Well, this is just a well-adjusted member of society. This is all. What are their names? The Trend Twins. I don't think Trend's their last name.
So like, if I'm stronger than you and bigger than you, I have more of a shield, first of all. I got more power, got more strength, I got more endurance, you know what I'm saying? Like, I make...
The endurance is,
I'm still speedy, bro, like I could throw...
That was not great.
Throw some punches, bro, I'm like...
Oh, they actually wrestled in a video later. Okay. Starts off with some hand fighting. He's obviously overpowering this guy, like a lot. Is he gonna turn into a high crotch? He does. He gets the lift, and a little bit of a dump. Oh, but dude immediately pops back up. Oh no! Oh!
It's alright, you don't piss them off. It's alright.
Oi!
Give him the old dick to
Okay. These two are a little bit more mobile than I thought they were gonna be. What else do we have here? Oh, he's got gloves on?
Keep on the ground.
Not super clean.
Hand up, keep that hand up.
Very average level of striking. When someone walks into a kickboxing gym, you'll probably get this the first time anybody comes in.
Here you go. Give me that right hand.
He's very obviously muscularly inclined and is kind of like woofing through his punches.
Moral of the story, I got no hands. These boys gotta be developed. Hey, bro said I got power, but he said my skill, my like, I don't know, I feel like it was the gloves, bro.
Yeah, I'm sure they were like gloves that sap you of all fighting skill. That's usually what martial arts gear is for. Compared to the average person, they have a serious leg up, 100%, especially if they played football. Now, Jesse's hamming this up a little bit, but okay, he's hamming this part up a lot. But when he's trying, this doesn't look too dissimilar to me from when bodybuilders come into the gym and they try and spar. It's kind of stiff. It's not really fully understanding what's happening. But guess what? Everybody does that when they first walk into a gym. Can Jesse punch harder than the average person who walks into the gym? Probably so. But I think when it comes to the learning curve, there are some disadvantages to having your body pre-trained to do specific movements a specific way. Like the same motion that you have to bench press is theoretically the one that you have to punch, but there's different nuances and details. Bradley takes the back.
Look at my head back.
You good?
Yeah, hold on. I got rocked.
You got
That was
rocked?
like a good punch.
Yeah.
That was a good punch.
Didn't know how to fall, lands on his head. That doesn't just count for getting thrown. There's plenty of times where people throw people and land on their head. Gets hit with another Soto. Oh, is he going up and over? Nope, he's pretty strong. He's going up and over. Oh. All right, I want to see Bradley wrestle somebody smaller though. All right, this guy's much smaller. Maybe high school wrestler. Oh, nice sweep. And he taps. Yeah, I mean, if you're like, that makes sense. When two people are both beginners, and one of them is much bigger, not a great position, pretty sweet takedown. And then outweighing somebody by 100 pounds and out squatting them and benching them by probably like 400. That is the goal, after all, to be stronger than people. I mean, my goal is to be stronger than myself from a couple years ago. Man, it's been a bit since I cracked this puppy open. If you've ever seen the Joe Rogan clip of him kicking the bag and it reading a stupid number, that's this thing. And we're gonna see if we can beat that stupid number again.
163!
For the second time, or more so, I want to beat my number from last time. To start off the power test, I jumped right into a jab. The power in the jab was more, but I would say it was like marginally more. But when it comes to the cross, I don't know what exactly changed, but I got so much more weight and speed, like maybe 1.25 times what it was when I practiced this originally. And then the same thing applies to the elbow and the hook punch. Because my chest and my shoulder strength has gone up by a lot, I'm throwing punches like DK and Super Mario Sluggers. That's a grand slam. But then we move on to the kicks, and this is where my heart breaks a little bit. My best guess is because of the meticulous nature of kicking.
That one hurt us both, I think.
I just lost a step. No matter how strong my legs are, I can't do the movement as fluidly as I should be able to. I'm not transferring that same power that I can create into an effective kick, and my numbers went down. It is simply too technical a movement to be able to just muscle through. But you don't have to hit somebody as hard as you can every time you go out there and spar, which will be our last test. So how often do you have somebody come in, like no training, that's super jacked?
Like powerlifter type guys?
Pretty much anybody who lifts.
I'd say once every like 3 months.
Okay. Are they on average better off
No.
than people who... Oh boy. This will be fun. I started striking from a very young age. Long before I started lifting, specifically lifting for sport in high school and college. So my striking isn't shaped by strength like my grappling is, but I've sparred less than a handful of times in the last year. So I'm sure it's going to be affected. One of the pros of being strong in your striking is how much you can move people with kicks. If you have a solid base and balance and you can extend your leg through someone with a bunch of mass behind it, they're gonna move.
You'll see a little bit more power generation and
Right.
so that explosiveness.
Yeah.
Right. But then sometimes like we've got a few guys who are power lifters.
Right.
Their endurance is crap.
What are the things that don't function well when people start off after having lifted for a long time?
Generally it's like just speed and reaction time.
One of the cons that I noticed from all these exchanges were that my exchanges felt more awkward. My timing wasn't as good and my reflexes weren't quite what they used to be. That probably comes from a mixture of a lack of sparring but also an increase in time under tension on those shoulders. My footwork was definitely a little bit clunkier. I'm moving around more human, and being light on your toes and agile is not exactly a core tenet to lifting heavy weights. It's not even close to being a target for most people. And I don't want to toot my own horn, but on a day where I felt like I was doing some of the worst sparring I've had in a long time, this is much better than you would see out of 99% of people who don't train. But then at the same time, I have more moments where there's things I would do in the past, probably would have worked, like a blitz, And because of the difference in how often this guy has sparred and I have sparred, I get caught by the biggest shot of the round.
Right? You know, I mean, just because you're used to picking up something static and putting it down, and now you're, even just hitting pads, you're talking about things that are moving.
Right.
You see a lot of times their body flows in kind of like one direction. They don't have the fluidity to just say, okay, turn your hip over. This is like,
it's just
you're
like,
introducing, or they wind up being kind of like the Rock'em Sock'em robot.
Fighting in almost any capacity is having strength, but only using it at very specific moments. Muscling your way through something that should be sharp or speedy only counteracts that exact movement. It's the exact reason that there's a stigma in MMA that the guys that are more well-built have worse cardio. It's not always the case, but the guys who use all of their muscle on every exchange, those are the guys that get the most tired. Well, and the ones that are out of shape. Some other combination that involves fluidity and technique, along with a little bit of luck, is what most fighting comes down to. There's definitely more factors, but having strength and luck, along with some athleticism, is good enough to beat most people who don't train the technique. There's no doubt about that. To me, strength is more of an accessory to fighting capability than it is one of the core concepts. Your skills and your knowledge are going to be the most important aspects to whether or not you can fight. You can aid your experience with strength, but it can't be the only aspect that you have.
Good job, time. All right, if you guys want one more round, you can do one more round.
Does lifting make you better at fighting?
Well, lifting makes you better at fighting.
Okay.
Yes.
After you're good at fighting already?
I would say so, yeah.
Like it's an attachment
It's a complementary.
for a gun
It's
rather
complementary. The strength and conditioning programs that our fighters utilize, it's a lot of like single leg stuff, depending on how much weight they have to gain or lose.
Right.
We're really working on like lower rep schemes so that they can develop enough power. But then it's also working kind of conversely supersetting with like some mobility exercises.
Yeah,
so
it's much more dynamic.
Dynamic, yes, versus the, just deadlift.
Right. How do you create fluidity and muscular use?
It's more so combining your strength with mobility. Being able to unlock your hips and teach you how to stabilize from the ground up. And so getting your glutes to fire effectively is one of the most essential ways to be able to then make fluid movement. If you look at every single exercise that we do, from our mobility, from our strength, it's the same sequence. Even when we're in our hip flexor stretch, we're in our glute stretch.
Right.
What is the first thing we activate? The hips. We stabilize the hips and then move from there.
I would say that smaller people tend to get better at their technique. They get crispier faster.
Oh, because you have to.
Yeah. You don't have any strength, so you have to do it perfectly to throw the person. And then the stronger you are, the more leeway you get. You got a much wider margin of error because what you lack in the technique, you can make up on the back end. It matters, and like I said at the beginning, when people don't have great technique, you can really see that strength gap shine through.
Hey, how do you guys feel about conclusions? Are you pro or anti-conclusion? Do you like it? Do you like it when things are concluded? Because it's about to happen. Here is my opinion on people who are strong in their capability of fighting. If you are even above average strong, you start off being able to fight better than the average person. And then slowly over time, as you start to go against more skilled people with more technique and more time in, you will start to drop. But the rate and to what degree you drop kind of depends on how athletic you are. If you are not athletic at all, you're going to have a harder time much sooner, if not maybe on this first day. But if you're more athletic, it's going to take a while before people start to catch up with you in technique, and you'll also probably be able to get the technique a little faster. And then things will all kind of even out, I think. People that are at a higher level than you will still be able to control you, but eventually you'll be able to use the strength again because you'll have the technique that allows the strength to be possible. Once you have all the technique that everybody else has, if you are still that strong, it's going to be super beneficial. Do I think Bradley Martin could beat Devin Haney in a fight? We're talking about an incredibly strong guy who's 260 pounds, as you might know. The things you don't really think about is how people react to being punched in the face. It's not a very fun thing. Shock is real. The grappling ability of Bradley would come into play here. It's not great, but it's definitely not zero amount. If there's a non-fighter that could beat these guys, it would be somebody like Bradley Martin. Fairly athletic, freakishly strong, heavy, but skill and technique does matter. This question of how much skill and technique beats brute strength, it's going to change from person to person. My money is on the fighters. If you guys have other questions like this that you'd like to see me explore, please feel free. Leave a comment. Tell me what you want to see. Do me a favor and watch some of my other content. If you enjoyed this, can't hurt.